Hi, my name is Sebastian van der Schier and I'm an ex-social anxiety disorder sufferer, and in this video I'm going to answer a question that was sent to me. Before I do, I'm going to talk about EFT and tapping. If you don't know what that is, EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques, and it's a gentle tapping technique to rapidly release and let go of negative emotions. Now, to learn more about that, you can go to my website, socialanxietysolutions.com. I teach it there. I teach the basics of it there for free. And knowing that full well, let's go on to the actual question. All right. Hi, Sebastian. I'm fairly new to tapping, about 1 month or so. And my question is, are you always going to be aware when a cognitive shift is occurring, or can it happen without you being fully conscious of it? Now, it's a great question, and I'm going to answer it in a bit longer form, where I teach you certain things that are going to be helpful, hopefully. Here we go. So you ask, so you talk about a cognitive shift. So what is a cognitive shift in the first place? Well, a cognitive shift is where you see something in a different way all of a sudden. Okay, so you have a shift in your perception. So something, the way you look at things change, the meaning of something might change. So why is it important to have these cognitive shifts? Well, you experience social anxiety because your brain perceives danger. Okay, so there's a perception of danger, and that you might look at the world through lenses that are like, oh, people are meaning out to get me, I'm not good enough, and the world is a dangerous place. And as you look at the world through these lenses, the information that comes in is like, whoa, there's danger out there, I'm not safe. When there's that filtering going on, your built-in response to that perceived danger, the fight, flight, freeze response, gets activated. Your hormones get released, adrenaline, cortisol, and your body is put into survival mode to prepare you to fight, flight, or freeze, to deal with the danger that it perceives. So it is important that you change these perceptions or beliefs that people are meaning out to get you, I'm not good enough, and the world is a dangerous place, or whatever those beliefs are. And I think that's what the question alludes to. So we talk about beliefs. Well, what is a belief? Well, belief is just a thought that you believe to be true. A thought that you have emotional attachment to. So when you say, let's take for example, I'm not good enough. When you say I'm not good enough, you might logically know, hey, that's not true. I've inherently just as much value as other people, and I am good enough. But emotionally, it might really feel that you're not good enough. Okay, and so then your belief is valid on an emotional level, and that's when it grabs you, when it has a hold on you. And okay, so why is a belief, why does that feel true? Well, because you learned it somewhere in life. Maybe you have proof, you have evidence. Proof. That's a P. P-R-O-O-F. You have proof. And here you have P-R-O-O-F. So you have these reference experiences where you learned that belief to be true. So maybe you're always criticized in your childhood, hey, I must not be good enough. Maybe you failed for your exam, hey, it must not be good enough. And you have these evidences to back up that overall belief that you're not good enough. So that feeling of I'm not good enough can be gotten rid of by using the tapping on the proof, the evidences where you learned that, and then eventually that belief will buckle. Will no longer be valid. It will no longer feel true to you. So then when you, then it's not only logically that you know that you're good enough, but also emotionally you no longer feel that you're not good enough. Okay, so that's what you want to get to. Now, are you always going to be aware when these cognitive shifts are occurring, or can it happen without you being fully conscious of it? Well, sometimes these cognitive shifts, these belief changes or shifts in perception happen on their own as you do the tapping. So, and that can be gradual. Let's start with a gradual example. So, work with a client, find out that he has a belief, there's something wrong with me. Okay, on a scale of 0 to 10, how true does that feel? Yeah, that feels totally true. 10 out of 10, felt like that for the longest time. Okay, so we start working, we start applying the tapping to the evidence that he has of that belief that there's something wrong with him. We go to his past, look at his relationship with his mom or with his dad or whatever happened repetitively in his childhood. We might address some of the key events that he has as evidence, and boom, end of the session. How is it now? How true does it feel when you say there's something wrong with me? And it's like, oh yeah, that no longer feels true. I feel calm or relaxed. I feel good about myself. This is great. And that's been gradual. So, after maybe addressing his childhood stuff, his belief that that there's something wrong with me goes from feeling 10 out of 10 true to maybe 5 out of 10 true. And then we address some of the key events, and it's no longer 5 out of 10 true, but 3 out of 10 true. And then we address another key event, and it only feels 1 or 2 true, and then we tap on the belief itself, there's something wrong with me, and it no longer feels true, and it's gone completely. So a cognitive shift has occurred. His perception has changed. He no longer believes that on a deep level, he no longer feels that there's something wrong with him. So that's a gradual cognitive shift. Okay, it's rather an emotional shift than a cognitive shift. Now, then they can also happen instantly. So during the tapping, so that might be you might have gotten upset because someone was teasing you, and you're like, wow, that person was really mean to be doing that to me. And as you start tapping on your feelings about it and what was said and so on, and your emotions decrease, eventually you might get an insight that's like, you know what, he was probably just having a good time, and he's not mean, he was just having a good time. Now, the perception changes. You have a cognitive shift. It's pretty subtle, right? It's pretty subtle, but it's helpful, right? So it's no longer he's meaning out to get me, but he's like, oh, he's just having a good time, and he's not out to get me. Okay? So that's something more subtle, and it can be more profound for someone. Like, I really felt weak and pathetic as I was working with my coach, going through a memory where I had phoned up a friend of mine, and I got his father on the phone. The father made fun of me, to his 2 sons, and he was mocking me, and I felt really ashamed as I was talking about that. And what my coach said, like, wow, what an idiot his father is to be saying that to a 12-year-old. And that instantly changed my, evoked a cognitive shift in me as we were doing the tapping, because now I felt that, hey, it's not me that's weak and pathetic. This guy has issues, and it's not me. And that's a big shift. Okay, that can happen. There are a wide variety of other big shifts that can happen. Now, it can also happen, a cognitive shift, when a belief is challenged. So a lot of people have the belief, a lot of people with social anxiety have the belief, well, I don't have proper social skills. Well, that's a belief, okay? So you can then start to challenge the validity of that belief by questioning it. It's like, oh, really? Don't you have social skills? Or is it just that when your heart is racing and your mind is blanked out and you've got a lump in your throat and you're thinking about escaping, your body's in survival mode, in that place it's impossible to socialize properly. You know, and then you're like, oh yeah, that kind of is the case. And you know, is it that you can't socialize in any social situation ever? Have you never ever been able to have a conversation with someone? How about with your mom? Or how about with a friend? Or how about, you know, online? Or whatever, and you start to challenge the validity of that belief that you have no social skills, and that kind of starts to change it around. Okay, so that's another way that you can shift your perception or change your change the validity of a belief and experience a cognitive shift. Okay, another quick thing that comes to mind is worked with a girl really long time ago. And I just learned about NLP or reframing, and she had a trouble with accepting compliments. And so I read through all my through my book with instructions and came up with a bunch of questions to ask her. And I asked her question after question after question about to try to change that conviction or that problem that she had with accepting compliments. And eventually I said, wow, it's really not nice of you to not accept a compliment. How bad must that person feel that is giving you the compliment? And that all of a sudden shifted her. She's like, oh yeah, oh my God. And she started laughing. It's like, yeah. It's nice for someone else to have me respond favorably, because that makes them feel good. And that, you know, made a cognitive shift happen for her. So, you know, it can happen gradually, it can happen instantly, and that can be subtle or profound, or it can be evoked, okay? But when you do this work, it's not that all over the place you're having these massive cognitive shifts, and, you know, you're not in a big chase for cognitive shifts. It's something that mostly gradually happens on its own, okay? So I hope that's been helpful, and if you want to subscribe to this video series, man, I'm really on a roll today, you want to hit this subscribe button here. I'm releasing a new video every Thursday. Then I am the host of a podcast show in iTunes where I interview the leading thinkers in the psychology, you know, Western traditional psychology as well as Eastern energy psychology world, and I uncover their stories of transformation, words of encouragement and inspiration, you know, their most recommended book, their favorite technique that they're using, and we address a specific social anxiety related topic each week, such as overcoming shame, getting rid of the fear of rejection, accepting and loving and appreciating your sensitivity, self-acceptance, the journey from social anxiety to social confidence, and many more awesome topics. And you can find the link to that below this video, or you can go to socialanxietysolutions.com/podcast. And the show is to be found in iTunes by searching for Social Anxiety Solutions. I'm releasing a podcast every Thursday, just like a new video every Thursday. Now, if you want to, I've been coaching socially anxious clients since 2009, and I've found a lot of patterns and common beliefs and ways of resolving that. And I've overcome my social anxiety myself, and so I've gone through the journey, and I found a lot of shortcuts. So I've got an article on my website that you can download, no need to sign up, and that is called 12 Shortcuts to Social Confidence. You can find it on my website, socialanxietysolutions.com. Alright, it's the end of the video, and hope this has been helpful, and I look forward to connecting with you next week again. Bye-bye.